Today on Searching for History, we're in Wilkeson, which is an old coal mining town in Pierce County, Washington. Wow, Wilkeson, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is great.
Really had no idea. Settlers searching for coal arrived in the 1870s. Wilkeson was officially incorporated in 1909. The town is named after Samuel Wilkeson, the father of journalist and pioneer settler Frank Wilkeson. Large streams of coal were found near Wilkeson, and by 1877, the Northern Pacific Railroad transported coal to Tacoma, and soon after, Wilkeson was shipping coal, timber, and sandstone across the state of Washington. At the height of its prosperity, Wilkeson was home to many businesses, including 2 saloons, hotels, a barber shop, a newspaper, a cigar factory, 2 electric plants, 2 theaters, 2 bakeries, and a bottling plant. So Wilkeson was a happening place. This town definitely has an Old West feel to it.
Yeah, I like it.
You know, like you were saying, I think it really could be the Winthrop of Western Washington.
Yeah.
Just needs some love. Over there is the Wilkeson Eagles. That building was built in 1910. Simple Goodness Soda Shop. Now right here in front of us, I believe this is an original hotel. Also a brothel at one point.
Yeah, they usually were.
Yeah, so you can see why it's called a false front, because the very top of it there is sticking above the roof line.
Behind me here is the Washington Hotel. It's a 2-story false front commercial building that was constructed in the mid-1880s. The Washington Hotel is the only wood construction building from Wilkerson's original boom period. The brick buildings that surround it are from a later vintage.
So how old was this tree, Erin?
Really old. I can't see all the rings, but there's a lot of rings in there.
Yeah, there's quite a few. It would be pretty hard, but I would say this was several hundred years old. I mean, look how tight these rings are. You know, in an inch, there's probably 50 rings or something.
Mm-hmm.
See that?
Yeah.
So apparently, stone in the Washington State Capitol came from the Wilkeson Sandstone quarry. Frank Cropey, powder man, lost his life in quarry accident in 1975. So then here's some of the sandstone. Welcome to Wilkeson along the Carbon River corridor. So this picture here is showing the depot that once stood across the street from the Railroad Street Park. It's a circa 1910 photo. And then here is another circa 1910 photo of downtown looking west, showing the bank above was located between the downtown bridge and where this fire station is today. So that part of the town doesn't exist anymore. And then here's the original Wilkeson School, pre-1910. And here's a map of the Puyallup coal field, Washington Territory, 1875. Here's a monument to the sandstone mining history of Wilkeson. Wilkeson Sandstone Quarry, a legacy in stone. In 1886, the Northern Pacific Railroad had opened its first sandstone quarry in Wilkeson. Belscott Stone Quarry flourished under the supervision of Robert Walker, born in England in 1859. He became an apprentice stonecutter at the age of 14 and later traveled to America in 1885. By 1908, Walker was working in Wilkeson's quarry, and in 1914 took possession of and successfully operated it until 1959 under the name Walker Cut Stone. So it looks like two of the more famous buildings made from the Wilkeson sandstone is the Washington State Capitol building in Olympia and the St. John's the Evangelist Church in Spokane. Did you know that the Capitol building was built from stone that came from Wilkeson?
I had no idea, really. I knew it was local stone, but I didn't know exactly where. So it's good to know where.
Here's something that's really remarkable or unfortunate. Here's a list of all the miners that died in the Carbon River corridor during the mining operations that took place here. And it has their ethnicities. I mean, you're seeing people from Greece to Austria, Canada, Norway, Russians, Poles, France. Pretty much every country in Europe is on here. Yeah, mining is a dangerous life.
This panel portrays excerpts from a diary by Peter Murphy, who lived from 1862 to 1931. Peter was one of the miners who was here in Wilkeson. He came to Wilkeson to start a new life, and he writes here, "It was sometime in March in 1888 that my wife and I received the good news of our forthcoming passage to America, and I realized that my lifelong, cherished hope at last had arrived. We received the steamship and railroad tickets from my wife's parents. The steamer Republic carried 1,100 Swede immigrants who enjoyed themselves daily on deck, dancing to music of several accordions. There were about 100 of us that spoke English." So there was a large Scandinavian population of miners that came across on this ship. This one here in the middle is of Wilkeson miners circa 1895. This one is of a parade in downtown Wilkeson. Here is a company baseball team. Here is a photo of mine conditions. So some miners down in an actual mine. This cartoon down at the bottom depicts a pro-union advertisement in which if the coal miners unionize, they get fairer pay and are in control of the company.
So if you look here, this is wages in 1919. I'm presuming this is per day. So a miner made $5.89 a day. Yeah, it's looking like different jobs range from a little over $3 to almost $6 per day. So this is the city hall, made out of Wilkeson sandstone.
This is cute.
It's built in 1923.
Wow, this is nice.
The town hall. Look at this little mine cart.
It's really cute.
So what we're looking at is the oldest Orthodox Church in Washington State. Immigrants to Wilkeson in the late 1800s included miners from the Carpathian Mountains of today's Slovak Republic. These miners brought with them Orthodox Christianity, and they built this church behind me in 1900. This is the Holy Trinity Orthodox Church, and it's the oldest Orthodox church in Washington State. The Holy Trinity Orthodox Church is a simple frame structure combining the Gothic vernacular form of an American country church with the distinctive onion dome and interior iconography of a traditional Slavic Orthodox temple. Unfortunately, we can't get inside to see the inside of the church, but we will take a closer look at the onion dome. So this is pretty cool just to have this here in Wilkeson. This might be the highest density of graves that I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's almost like a European cemetery. It's so dense.
Right as you drive into Wilkeson, there's this cemetery called Our Lady of Lourdes. It's a Catholic cemetery. And I have to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen such a high density of graves in a small area. It's pretty incredible. And I'm going to make a leap here, but I'm assuming that a lot of these are people that died in the mines, in the coal mines around here. Let's take a quick look and see what some of these look like. Here's an example. Actually, this is a woman, Mary Hicklam, died in 1913 at 30 years old. Actually, here's another 30-year-old woman, Susie Zidek. Some children's graves. They're mostly early 1900s.
I'm seeing a lot of Eastern European names. We learned when we were looking at the Orthodox Church that there's a large Slovakian population in Wilkeson.
Look, this has a wheel on it. See that? This might be one of the spookiest graveyards I've been in.
Yeah.
This is impressive.
There's quite a lot of these enclosure over the top of the grave, like this.
Yeah, it's kind of a grave cap.
Like a cap, yeah. And I don't think I've seen that outside of military burials in the United States or outside of European cemeteries. They're really common in European graveyards. But it's unusual to see so many in a Western, in an American cemetery.
So look, this is that, at the Roy Cemetery we saw something similar. So you have an angel pointing towards heaven.
Yeah.
I have to say, this cemetery is giving me a little bit of an eerie feeling.
It's pretty spooky. I think a big reason is the density of graves. It feels more creepy because there's more graves close together. I don't know why that is.
I think we're gonna mosey on along and stop disturbing the rest of these people. The school was built in 1912 in the neoclassical revival style. This is the Wilkeson Elementary School, and it's the oldest still functioning elementary school in the state of Washington. Looks like it's built of Wilkeson sandstone, and it's on the National Register of Historic Places. Pretty interesting. You can see kind of neoclassical elements in its construction. Like right here, this entrance, how you have kind of the pillars on either side. The triangular feature, which is really classic in classical or neoclassical architectural style. And you see those elements up higher and then down here at this other entrance. So there's one last place to take a look at in Wilkeson, and that's the Wilkeson Coke Ovens. So we'll see you there. We're now at the Wilkeson Coke Ovens. Let's check them out.
The northern Pierce County coal fields are blessed with bituminous coal, which is the type needed for the production of coke. Coke is used for industrial smelters because it burns hotter than regular coal. We're here in Wilkeson because There's still remaining coke ovens that we can see here. But there were coke ovens that were built in mining towns all around here in Fairfax, Montezuma, Carbonado, South Willis, Crocker, and also Wilkeson. All of these coke ovens in all these towns were built before 1918. By the early 1930s, though, coke was replaced by cheaper fuels. Wilkeson kind of hung on producing coke as long as it could until the 1970s, but it was not the boom town that it was in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Thora wants to go see.
Yeah, apparently.
The production of coke just involves heating the raw coal to a really high temperature to get the impurities out of the coal. And they did that by building these ovens, and they had a retaining wall and soil to keep the heat consistent so that they wouldn't lose any of that heat, and they would make sure to have that heat going all of the time.
It looks like the retaining wall doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, they don't have it there anymore.
I'm sure it was robbed for stone to
yeah.
be used elsewhere.
This type of coke oven is called a beehive oven. The coal was filled in all the ovens from the top. A metal lid was placed on each oven, and then the coal was ignited and burned from 48 to 72 hours to smelt away the impurities. And then all of the metal lids were removed and allowed the coke to cool just enough for these openings in the front here to be opened. And rakers, men with rakes, could then rake the coke out of the ovens onto awaiting rail cars.
Here's a good cross section right here where you can see where the portal on the top, where the hatch was. See that? So that's where the coal would be poured in. And then here's inside. Okay, you can still see the hole up there. In this one, it's intact enough. You see that, Erin?
Yeah, I guess so. Just barely.
Come closer.
Yep.
So it's a pretty small hole.
Yeah.
What we see here must be the rail infrastructure that would bring the coal in from the mines to the coke ovens. And then also, was used when they would load the coke to ship it out to Tacoma or wherever it was going. Hey girls. How are my girls? Another factor that led to the decline of Wilkeson is a fire destroyed much of the town twice, one in 1910 and another in 1912. For a time, Wilkeson was known as a ghost town, but in the 1980s and 90s, it became a bedroom community for people working elsewhere in Pierce County. Well, Erin, what do you think about Wilkeson and the Wilkeson Coke Ovens and the history around here?
Wilkeson is really cute. It could definitely be the next Winthrop. I would like it if we could come back here when some of the shops are actually open and we could peek inside and have some coffee or something.
For it to be the next Winthrop, it would take somebody to want to pour some money into Wilkeson.
Yeah.
I mean, people live here as a bedroom community, but in a way it is a ghost town.
It would need a lot of love. The cemetery just outside of town is really cool.
Yeah, that cemetery, I've never really had an eerie, spooky feeling in a cemetery before, but that one definitely had that.
Yeah.
Had that going on.
Extra spooky.
Yeah, really.
And the Coke Ovens are really cool to check out. Really an interesting feature.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing that Wilkeson with the Coke Ovens here is really the center of industry, in that they were creating fuel for industry in Tacoma and Seattle and the other cities, you know, in the Northwest. And you couldn't have had those cities boom without, you know, the Coke being produced here in Wilkeson.
Yeah, I think that with the Coke and the Sandstone, they were really becoming, I mean, they really had an industrial boom here.
Yeah. But then as fuels moved away from Coke, the economy died out and Wilkeson fell asleep, and really it's been asleep ever since.
Yeah.
One thing that's really interesting is this is the Carbon River Valley, and so there's a lot of mining history here. And we know of another town, Carbonado, and then there's a couple ghost towns. I think one's called Melmont, another is called Fairfax. And so at some point we're gonna get back up here in this valley and take a look at everything. So there'll be more videos out here by Wilkeson coming out. Well, that was our video on Wilkeson. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Don't forget to like, share, comment on this video, and please subscribe to Searching for History.
Thanks for watching.